Hi guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind blown moment, a mushroom cloud moment, all the links are at the bottom of this video. Again, new author to read. New book to explore. Besides the Curtis books, because they're just amazing. Yeah. It reached 115 here today in Northwest Indiana with the real feel value. And I didn't see my little, I named my little kitty. I was going to put a poll out for the community to ask what to name my outdoor black cat. Because, of course, why wouldn't I attract a black cat? He's really cute. He doesn't want to come in. I've tried so many methods. I don't want to trap him because I have a pack of raccoons who wreak havoc on my deck. I love raccoons, and I got marshmallows and peanuts, and I put it closer to my pool that I don't ever swim in because I haven't fixed it yet. So I put it all the way in the back of my property, so at least my little guy can get something. Every 2 hours today, I was putting ice water out, hoping that he might sneak out and have a drink. I just left some moist, wet food so he's not dehydrated. Praying he's eating it. And Morgan likes her boyfriend because she's out always looking out the window for him. She's not hissing. She doesn't have her tail tucked, so we're all good. Yeah, this is my little spacey ship soldier shirt. I love it. And the pile of books I have to read. Anywho, glad you guys are here with me today. So yesterday I didn't really do much because it was stupid hot outside, and I finished portraits I did for someone's major big birthday tomorrow. If you follow We Not Me, tune in on Sunday on Rumble. So this chapter is Woman's Age. This should be interesting. Cyclic law. Cyclic law rules manifestation, for all manifestation takes place in cycles of outbreathing and inbreathing. Day follows night, summer follows winter. Nations have their birth. Each reach their zenith, decline and pass away. Sub-races and races arise, flourish, and are no more. Likewise, age follows age. Quote, the thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. End quote. And yet each new cycle is not a repetition of the previous cycle, for manifestation is not in a cycle, but in a spiral. Each renewal of expression is on a slightly higher level. For each season's growth builds on branches grown last season. Therefore, existence is not a hopeless round of repetition, for each cycle is a new opportunity for greater expression. Coming to a reality now. An age. While the sun finds its cycle of expression during the year in the 12 signs of the zodiac, there is still greater cycle called the magnum annus, or solar year. This requires approximately 26,000 years to bring the heavenly constellations back into their same relative positions. And this solar year is also divided into 12 signs. Each of these 12 periods is approximately 2,160 years in length, and each is called an age. Each age takes its name from the sign which is ruling at the time. Thus, we are just closing the cycle of the Piscean and are entering into the Aquarian or woman's age. So every 2,000 odd years, our solar system enters into a new region in space, into a definite new division of greater zodiac. This concentrates upon the Earth certain new forces and new combinations of old forces, which naturally affect everything upon it. For instance, astronomers tell us that the gigantic storms in the photosphere of the faraway sun, visible as the so-called sunspots, have a marked effect upon the weather, also upon the magnetic currents of the Earth. So much so that they interfere with radio reception. And just like as cosmic forces affect Earth, vegetation, so do the forces of the New Age affect all humanity. And I'm going to put a pause here because we're seeing this with the Schumann resonance. We're seeing this with the magnetic sphere. I don't have the app to that one, but I check the Schumann every day, especially if I'm feeling a little wonky or a little hyper. I will then check to see if the Schumann's going off, but there's also a magnetic sphere that shows you things like interfering. It's very cool. The Aquarian age. Astronomers are still at variance as to whether our planet Earth has actually entered into the sign Aquarius and the celestial zodiac. But all students of mystical science and most astrologers agree that we have at least entered into the influence of its pre-numbria or aura. Many consider that we entered the Aquarian age with the entry of Uranus into Aquarius on February 12, 1912. Since that date, humanity has been subjugated to the outpouring of this new streams of cosmic force, especially the love stream of the Divine Mother, and has been reacting to it in various ways. Since humanity as a whole requires considerable time to react to new cosmic forces, at first, only the more sensitive and advanced can respond. And even they seldom understand the reason for the new ideas and the great urge to bring them forth, which surges within them. But nevertheless, they become the pioneers and leaders in all the advanced lines of thought and action of the day. But regardless of the exact date, which matters little in so long as a cycle as 2,160 years, we know that the clock of the heavens has struck the hour and a new day has dawned for mankind, and especially for the rapid unfoldment of women. Oh, the women's age. Aquarius is called the woman's age because the forces emanating from the constellations in Aquarius are essentially feminine in their influence. A symbol of a man pouring out water upon the ground also indicates this influence. For as water is the essential nourishing principle without which no life can be brought forth, it is an expression of the divine mother love of the Godhead, and therefore properly symbolizes women, who is the human embodiment of that force. In fact, even the name of the feminine or love aspect of the Godhead is nearly all religions is connected with water, such as the Latin mare, the sea, or the great deep, and the Christian religion as Mary. Man's domination. Aquarius is the 11th sign, the 11 symbolizing a new beginning, an age when the feminine force of the Divine Mother is being poured out in abundance, that the womanhood of the race may have greater opportunity for unfoldment. In past ages, it has been man's force and man's ideas that have dominated not only business, but society and even religion, wherein the masculine aspect or the fatherhood of God has been emphasized rather than motherhood. During the reign of the masculine qualities, women have been regarded as possession of men, and when not a chattel owned for his pleasure, she was at least a plaything for his delight and comfort, or perhaps even an idol to be worshipped. But men was always in possession and control. Now, men's period of rule and domination is over. He has proved by his failure to bring peace, harmony, and happiness to mankind through force without love. That is not good for him to rule alone. The allegory. In allegory of the Garden of Eden, man is represented as being alone at first, but containing both the masculine and feminine attributes within the one and androgynous body. But as the early ethereal body became more materialized and came under the law of physical plane, the law of duality, the androgynous form could no longer contain the expanding feminine principle, and the sexes had to separate. This psychological event in the evolution of the body is symbolized by Eve's being taken from Adam's side as a rib. We know it was not a literal rib, for man has as many ribs as women. None are missing. Why, then, should so curious a symbol as a rib have been used? Because it perfectly illustrates what took place. Feminine qualities. The downpouring of the Aquarian force is quickening the feminine qualities in both men and women women are coming out of their seclusion in the home and taking their stand side by side with men in the government, governing affairs of the world. Women can no longer be regarded as a mere rib or part of a man, an appendage, or a side issue. For even a rib is not an appendage or afterthought, but it is an essential part of the structure of the body, without which the vital organs could not be maintained in their normal positions or receive their needful protection. Just so women is an integral part and vital part of the body of humanity and the structure of society, she can no longer be hidden in the body of politic, but must step out and come forth as the rib was taken out of Adam. She must manifest her true self and take her true place as a vital and ruling factor, not only in the home, but in the world's affairs and in life of humanity. Crusades. But how is she to overcome the customs of ages and make her influence felt in a world so dominated by men? At first, it seems hopeless, but by responding to the urge of the downpouring of the mother force, she has organized various great crusades for political freedom, temperance, educational reform, and other progressive and uplifting movements. As you know, her efforts have already won her political freedom in England and the United States and elsewhere, and has even amended the Constitution of the United States in her favor. And in France, the charges made in the Civil Code have released the French women from obedience to their husbands, giving them the right to have bank accounts in their own names, sue for damages, inherent property, etc. The goal. But the winning of political freedom is not her ultimate goal. It is only one step toward a destined end. For the goal of women is not to be a politician or an office holder, although society needs her influence in both fields. Her mission is to embody and express the divine mother qualities for the uplift of the whole human family. Changing conditions. The emergency of the World War forced millions of women out of the round of domestic life into the larger life of service to their country and its soldiers. Changing economic conditions, since they have forced other millions from the home into the office or factory. And women have proved her ability to succeed in all these new tasks. In countless cases, the manifold responsibilities of the cottage or country home have been replaced by the simpler duties of the flat or apartment. How should women make use of her newfound time and freedom? For one thing, we would suggest that all who realize the good they can accomplish for their community and their country, as well as for themselves and their families, by their united efforts in constructive endeavors, should carefully select some such activity, club, church, society, etc., in which they can take a sincere and active interest for the culture or upliftment of mankind. Women's influence. Women are already having a vast constructive influence in their clubs for cultural and artistic ends, in peace societies, parent-teacher clubs, and their support of all manner of metaphysical, mental science, mystical, and religious movements. So their ideals of culture, education, health, children welfare, and social service are gradually uplifting the peoples of all lands, where they actively cooperating in spite of the seeming laxity of the noisy and therefore conspicuous minority of aimless pleasure seekers. Our suggestion applies with especial force to those who are not blessed with families and who therefore have more time for outside activities and recreations, but care should be taken not to engage in too many such activities, or one is apt to dissipate one's force too widely and so accomplish less good. Excesses. No doubt in her newfound freedom, women have gone and may still go to extremes in some ways, but time and experience will solve that problem. At first, many felt that they could best demonstrate their freedom from men's domination by aping men's ways. In an unthinking spirit of bravo, many thought that it was smart and modern to imitate his bad habits, such as cocktail drinking, gambling, and smoking. Such habits are far more deleterious to women than to men because of her more sensitive nervous system. They also tend distinctly to coarsen her mental, moral, and social fiber, as well as impair her normal fertility. They also open her more easily to invasion of both her body and mind by lower astral forces, which commonly swarm around barrooms and similar places. The women of the New Age regard her freedom as something more than freedom to ape men. On the contrary, it should make her more able to raise the standards of life and action of both herself and her family. For more in harmony she rises, the few advanced souls will incarnate through her to be raised by her. Woman's place. Men's age-long refusal to give women her true place beside him in the world's affairs, as well as in the home, has perverted her talents and forced her to use the power of her feminine charms to enhance and enslave men, so as to gratify her vanity, her ambition, her comfort, and her economic security. But now her victory must be one of moral and spiritual leadership. The woman of the New Age must use her new freedom, not to lure men, but to lead him. She should no longer play along his chivalry merely to lead him to the altar of matrimony, but to the altar of worship, not to social and economic heights, but to spiritual heights. She should seek to stimulate not his passions, but his possibilities, his aspirations and ideals. For men can easily be inspired and led to support almost any altruistic crusade by ideals sincerely expressed and actually lived, where he could not be cajoled, forced, or driven. And since recently published statistics, 1938, shown that there are 1,645,000 more women than men in Great Britain. Their influence, when properly directed, should be overwhelming. Preparing food. Women should still prepare the food for men, spiritual as well as physical. She should see to it that it contains plenty of live foods full of vitamins, spiritual as well as physical, and properly combined to produce spiritual health and vitality as well as physical. For just as the physical food she prepares contains her personal magnetism and the vibrations of her mother love and her degree of happiness while preparing an appetizing meal, so should the spiritual ideals she presents be bathed in the vibrations of her intuition and her spiritual love for the unfoldment of her divine family. Many a meal, although composed of proper ingredients, is made unsatisfyingly and even irritated by the thoughts of hurry, irration, and resentment if one who prepares it is in an unhappy mood. If she establishes the habit of singing or humming as she cooks, she can revolutionize her meals and the family's life as well. Always bless your food. Put the will and intention into your food. The bread maker. Women should therefore be the symbolic, if not the actual bread maker, and may even help with the bread winning upon occasion. But she should also see that her family is supplied with those spiritual truths and ideals, which are the bread of life, baked in the fires of divine love. The modern man and his inquiring mind children can no longer be fed on the dry crust of out-of-date theology dogmas, for without the feminine waters of love, any food dries up and tasteless and unsatisfying. Neither will the modern mind be satisfied with the coarse fare of literalized and materialized biblical interpretations and ritual of predestination, hellfire, and infant damnation that satisfied his less analytical forefathers. Old-time religion. The old-time religion is good enough for me as the slogan of an unthinking mind and an unprogressive spirit, which should have no place in the new age. It applies only to those who are willing to put up with the old-time ox cart methods of transportation and the tallow drip methods of illumination. Women should make the spiritual bed for her family as well as the physical, for only so can they obtain the spiritual relaxation, rest, and refreshment needed for their happiness and soul growth. Motherhood. Just as the woman of the new age is merely a politician nor a factory worker, so is she no longer merely a child bearer and a household drudge. The woman who really belongs to the new age can no longer be merely a housekeeper or even an idol to be worshipped, since it is her mission to represent and embody the qualities of the divine mother on earth. To her belongs the moral and spiritual leadership of mankind, for necessarily she must be the mother of the new age, and she can also be the mother of the new race, if she will recognize her opportunities and make the mental and spiritual conditions necessary to attract advanced souls to her from the higher realms. It is now more than ever her great opportunity to influence the future of the race by deliberately attracting to her and giving incarnation to those great souls who will become the leaders in the various affairs of the new age. For she attracts variously developed souls according to the ideal she holds. Many of the great ones have been waiting for ages for the right era and the right mothers who can give the right conditions of peace, harmony, thought, idealism, and spirituality in which they can incarnate and accomplish their mission. For the new race cannot incarnate in conditions where material ideas of wealth, power, and selfishness predominate. And even those now in incarnation are limited in their expression by the prevailing race. Once again, a book validates my thinking, because I've been saying, here's a book saying it to you. Happy birthday to the new idea, but it's not new. You choose your mother and father. You choose your circumstances. You choose when to come and be born. That is the God spark within the mother. You choose it. This also validates what I've been calling and validating for myself what I am as a soul. And this should feel good for those of you who also know what you are. Now think about the time that they wrote this in. We could possibly be these children that are now grown-ups seeding the next life. Well, not me, but others. I love validation. All of this is validating everything that I have been through and been saying. It's just down on paper, tangible evidence if you want to believe what they're saying. But it's true. I had to wait to incarnate into this vehicle because I had to wait for the conditions to be right to find the people who were going to move to the Stargate in New York. I ordered that map, by the way, and I'm hoping I can somehow show you. But I had to wait to incarnate. My higher frequency had to wait for the right conditions to find people to birth me, to adopt me, and to take me to where I needed to be as my mission. Unknowing at that time when I was a little kid, no idea. But all of this is like now coming into my consciousness. So think about yourself and your situation. Congratulations. You had to come here for a reason. Bingo. The childless. Me. And even if a vast number of women have not the opportunity to bring forth bodies in which many souls now awaiting incarnation can come to earth, although that is one of the most exalted services women can render the race, it should be giving embodiment to the many new spiritual ideas of beauty, harmony, justice, love, and righteousness, which are always awaiting an opportunity to incarnate for the inspiration and guidance of mankind during the woman's age. Hers being the intuitive type of mind, which can grasp the essence of truth without the laborious process of logical reasoning. She is the one to grasp and bring forth the new ideals for man to embody and establish in the outer world. The bringer forth. The wave of feminism now sweeping the world is the result of the divine mother force now being poured out upon humanity from the sign Aquarius. It is therefore stimulating the feminine aspect of all mankind with a great desire to bring forth new conceptions of life in human society, new realizations of truth, and new conditions for the health, happiness, and upliftment of mankind. And because her mission as the bringer forth, women must be the leader in all social activities. The fate of nations, the race, and even the planet depended upon women's, recognizing the great opportunity which the woman's age can give her to accomplish her true and greatest mission. And in our time right now, again, this was written a long time ago, what are they trying to do? They're trying to change men into women, so this degrades the whole purpose of the Aquarian age. And again, you can identify with whatever you want. I could care less. But look what's being pushed on society. They're taking women's power away and degrading us again. Because guess what? They're frightened at our power. Mic drop. Youth. The saying that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world is still true, but is women still rocking the cradle? Are not many rather rocking the boat of society by their neglect of the cradle for card and cocktail parties and other frivolities. The so-called laxity of youth, now so widely deplored, can be traced directly to the laxity of their home training and ideals because their cradle was not properly rocked. Women's great opportunity to influence the growing mind must be inspired by high ideals and organized to obtain definite ends, such as truthfulness, courtesy, respect for ideals and spiritual principles, worship. Women's true place is that of the priestess of the home and family, whether that family be her own private family or the wider family of her school, her business associates, her church, her clubs, or social group. There she is responsible for the ideals and standards set for the spiritual life of the home and group. And we've seen that also degrade since this book has been written. Because no longer are, and not to say that women aren't raising children, it is less that a mother to a child is being raised because the woman has to drop the child off the daycare because they have to work because the bills are too high. Changed from this time of the book. Why? And it's not, and it's also taking the men out of the home because you need both aspects balanced in neutrality so a child knows of both. Taking the mother out so she has to work and having other people raise your child is a big problem. And not to say the mother shouldn't go to work. My mother raised me and then when I was old enough went to work. But I had a mother in my home. I'm very lucky. And I had my father until he passed. Woman's responsibility. Again, take this all with a grain of salt because think of the time frame that this was written in. Therefore, upon women rests the moral and spiritual leadership of the race, as upon men rests the responsibility putting her inspired ideals as well as his own into the executive action and manifestation. Neither is superior to the other, any more than one hand is superior to the other, nor can one usurp the proper functions and duties of the other. Both must work together, like the right hand and the left hand, to accomplish the task common to the welfare of both. Men and women must go forward hand in harmony, love, and mutual self-respect. If the new age is to be ushered in peace and prosperity and its ideals obtained, women must keep ever in mind her true role as the inspirer of mankind. When she cannot obtain her ideals through feminine means, she should plan to have them manifested by men rather than trying to use masculine means herself. Thus will women take her place as one who can lift the veil of Isis, the divine mother, and initiate her, me, into the realization that she steadily radiates of divine love, should shine out through all human contexts and relationships. The golden apple. If women can be said to have given men the green apple of discord, which brought about the so-called fall of men, and to have introduced evil into the world, so she must now give men the golden apples of Hesperides, which through her spiritual illumination she has plucked from the tree of life to uplift men and so redeem any mistakes she may have made. It is therefore now time for her to sink all petty differences out of and method and unite in the one object of bringing forth the ideal in the daily life, that women and the woman's age may the sooner accomplish their manifest destiny. Oh boy. Chapter 8. Smile, smile, smile. A beaming smile. A smile is like a sunbeam. It lightens up everything it touches. It sheds a mellow radiance on social intercourse that no blaze of intellect can equal. A happily smiling person upon entering a room can dispel the gloom, overcome the cold, formal reserve of the gathering, put people at ease, and often set them chatting gaily with one another. Just try it. Costs nothing. A smile costs nothing, but creates much. It is the easiest thing to give, and it brings great returns. It enriches those who receive it without depleting those who give it. None are so rich that they can get along without it. None are so poor but are made richer by its radiance. Just try it. Twinkling eyes. A sincere smile is always appreciated. It keeps one from being tense and rigid. It breaks the ice. Few have the courage or the inclination to try to thaw an iceberg, but a warm smile will do it. Just try. Smile in a jam. Smiling in a traffic jam prevents you from fettering or chafing at the inevitable. It restores a sense of values. It relieves many tense and difficult situations. Just try it. Smiling fortifies. Smiling helps you to live with people, not just among them. If you smile, you cannot be embarrassed, hurt, or angry over remarks or even insults. And if you lose your temper, you lose your power of reason and judgment. Don't permit it. Just smile and note the results. Just try it. Sense of humor. Watch for the amusing side of things. Learn to laugh at yourself. A situation is just as funny when it happens to you. Laugh with others, not at them. Kindness and goodwill win hearts. Give a kindly smile. Just try it. And I did a short of me whacking a fly to death. I did get it dead. And I laughed so hard, and I had a really good moment that I put a short up about what I did on one of the other readings. It was really funny. I mean, you're seeing me. So you see, I wanted to make people laugh, and that is the best way to do it, with a blooper. Springs of cheer. A true smile comes not from the intellect, but from the heart, and it warms the hearts of others. Cheerfully smiling people are like bubbling springs, which refresh, stimulate, and enthuse. Just try it. Smiling scrapbook. Clip anecdotes and other items of cheerful nature and make a book of them to cheer and refresh yourself and your friends. Just try it. Sympathy. A smile of sympathy can cheer the bereaved and lighten their sorrow. Just try it. A loving smile can win the heart of a child when even candy is refused. Just try it. A friendly smile can put over a business deal with which no amount of cold intellectual argument could close. Just try it. A smile is more enduring than a brilliant intellect. Just try it. Companionship. A smiling person, even if uneducated, is more pleasing companion than a highly educated person who is coldly intellectual. Just try it. The memory lasts. A smile happens in a flash, but the memory of it sometimes lasts forever. It creates happiness in the home, brings success in business, fosters fellowship in the lodge, and is a valued courtesy that should be given without a stint. Just try it. Cannot be bought. A smile cannot be bought, begged, borrowed, or stolen. It is no earthly good until it is given away. It is sunshine to the sad and nature's best antidote for trouble. Just try it. Types of smiles. There are several types of so-called smiles, but only that smile which is inspired from the heart is the true smile. An insincere smile is not a true smile, only a smirk. An enigmatic smile, like that of a Mona Lisa, although it may be intriguing, is not helpful. It makes people uncomfortable because it is not frank and honest and may be suspected of being critical, derisive, or contemptuous. A wry smile is but a grimace. A smile of mere animal pleasure or satisfaction is only a grin. A sinister smile is but an evil leer, which such a smile, as Shakespeare says, quote, one may smile and be a villain still, end quote, but all such are but perversions of a true smile. Importance of smiling. At first sight, smiling may not seem to be much of a spiritual expression, but in reality, it releases the power of the I am into outward manifestation. The importance of smiling is therefore manyfold. First, in its effect upon ourselves, it makes us responsive to the expression of the inner harmony and love of our spiritual self. That expression through us is developed by the frequency and degree which we act and express that inner love and harmony. Relaxes tension. Smiling relaxes all tension of both mind and body and releases various mental repressions and complexes, which if long continued are apt to find destructive expression. It helps neutralize and dissipate depressing thoughts and emotions. If one who is crying can suddenly be made to smile, how the emotional state is changed and how quickly the tears disappear. Just try it. Ill humor evaporates. How quickly ill humor also evaporates before a good-humored smile. Recently, a taxi cab ran into our car and the frowning driver seemed readily to curse us, but we smiled good-naturedly. His frown relaxed and he waved us a cheerful okay. We also practice smiling on all who serve us, postmen, milkmen, gasoline attendants, store clerks, and we do not stop until we get a smile in return, no matter how forbidding their mine at first. Just try it. But to secure such constructive results, the smile must be sincere or it cannot convey the positive radiations which will overcome and supplement the negative vibrations. Quote, smiles, the cushions are that soften man's hard knocks that come full often. Through the wrinkles he seems to see a goodly world with which to agree, end quote. Laughter. Smiling naturally leads to laughter, which is even more relaxing and releasing as the outer expression of an inner joy. Such relaxation has a stimulating and constructive effect upon all the bodily functions. In fact, laughter is a physiological necessity for health. Not only does the brain and nervous system require it for relaxation, but the heartbeat is accelerated, the blood is oxygenated, and kept red, and quickened circulation flushes the cheeks with a rosy hue. It also promotes digestion and stimulates the functions of all the endocrine glands and other internal organs. Therefore, for health's sake alone, we should make smiles and laughter so habitual that they will bubble up spontaneously and sparklingly, like water from a spring. Just try it. Smiling at dinner. These psychological and physiological effects are so well known that they are taken advantage of by the hostess who is planning a dinner party. She's very careful to invite only those who are known to be harmonious and happy with one another, and smiles, jokes, wit, and laughter are encouraged, while controversial subjects, which might lead to arguments and inharmony, are banned. For without harmony and laughter, the dinner is a bore, and even the most delicious viands are less enjoyed, and many lie undigested because of the tension or mental inharmony. Shakespeare says, quote, loosen now and then a scattered smile, and that I've lived upon, end quote. Why smile? Frankly, would you not like yourself better if you smiled more? Just try it. Why is this? What is there about a smile that elicits such favorable reactions from others? What is the law back of it? And how can we apply that law so that we may make it work for us? It is the result of the law of radiation from the I am in action. Let us see why. Law of radiation. Every living thing in nature is but the vehicle of a center of force. Life and consciousness in the invisible world, which is seeking manifestation in the physical world. Therefore, every living thing is a battery, which is charged with its indivisible dynamic forces. And since all forces radiate their vibrations, even if they do not emit actual emissions of themselves, they are centers of dynamic radiations. Scotographs. It is said that even a leaf of growing plant is charged with the radiant life force that it will take a scotograph or shadow picture of itself if placed upon a photographic plate, following the same law of radiation, which also are batteries of radiating force. Odors, physical magnetism, mental, emotional, psychic, and spiritual forces, which impinging upon and produce some form of reaction from everything and every person they contact, whether recognized and immediately expressed or not. Ebb and flow. According to the law of ebb and flow, which rules all manifested life, even our incarnations, everything that is emanated or put forth from any center of radiation or manifestation must ultimately return to its source, bringing with it the net results of its manifestation. According to this law, our real or spiritual self returns to its divine source, bearing with it the net results of its incarnations on earth. Vibrations return. According to the same law, every word we speak, whose vibrations we put upon the air, will bring back to us its fruition sooner or later. Jesus recognized this law when he said, quote, every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment, end quote. Quote, the world is like a mirror reflecting what you do. And if you face it smiling, it smiles back at you, end quote. Our emotions. The same law also applies to our emotions. If we are crossed and irritable, we send out such inharmonious vibrations that they affect all those around us and tend to make them also cross and irritable towards us. In other words, like produces like, and we reap the results of what we sow or send forth. Conversely, if we smile and send forth happy and cheerful radiations, we receive the same kind in return. Ordinarily, we smile because we feel harmonious and happy within, and we are therefore naturally radiate those forces and reap like forces in return. Just try it. States of consciousness. All our words and acts are expressions of states of our consciousness within, but many of these expressions are not the manifestation of definite thoughts consciously reasoned out and deliberately expressed. They are more often the expression of intrinsic, often negative emotions and habits of the animal self, which have become established by our failure to train and discipline it, according to well-reasoned thoughts, which express the high and constructive ideals which we have deliberately chosen and adopted as worthy of attainment and expression. Lack of training. Because of this lack of emotional training and control, we often express emotions which thought, reason, and experience tells us not wise, which we would not express if only stopped to think. But since those who have not practiced self-control and self-discipline do not often stop to think, but speak and act impulsively, their reaction is the spontaneous and intrinsic expression of the characteristic of an untrained animal self. The body, not we. We all know that the body is not we, the I am. It is not the real or spiritual self, but is only an animal into which we have temporarily projected our ray of consciousness in order that we may find expression through it and experience the conditions and learn the lessons of this temporary visit to the physical world. Therefore, without our proper training of this animal and its instinctive reactions, we cannot expect it to react in any other way than its unreasoned instincts of self-preservation, self-aggrandizement, and self-indulgence. and these instincts find expression largely through the negative and destructive emotions. Animal emotions. When all goes with the animal self, it is happy and content. But when conditions arise which the animal fears will interfere with its welfare and habits or curb its self-indulgence, then opposition and negative emotions are at once aroused. These are sometimes useful and necessary for self-preservation, and such instinctive reactions are then justified by reason and common sense. Fears. But most of our words and acts, which are aroused by fears of one sort or another, physical, moral, social, psychic, are not justified by reason or common sense. Especially is this true of such destructive emotions as anger, hatred, jealousy, envy, covetousness. Once these are recognized as being not our emotions, but those of animal self, the absolute necessity for self-discipline will be seen. Self-discipline. And self-discipline means training the animal self to be governed not by its animal instincts, but by the ideals of the wisdom of the real or spiritual being, who is temporarily incarnated in the animal body in which it is striving to control and train for its greater expression. It must be trained to react as automatically to our ideals as formerly did in its animal instincts. Practice smiling. The importance of this philosophical explanation is that our emotions are the most powerful sources of the radiations we send out, even more powerful than our thoughts and words, both of which are frequently dominated and changed by our emotions. How important it is, therefore, to cultivate our constructive emotions. One of the easiest ways to do this is smile, to deliberately practice smiling. Ordinarily, when we smile, it is a natural outward expression of a friendly feeling we have within our hearts toward the one at whom we smile. Friendliness. Now, friendliness is but an early stage in the manifestation of love or the divine harmony of the I am, within which we should envelope all of God's creatures. Therefore, a true smile, which must come from the heart, will awaken a corresponding vibration in the one toward whom we radiate our smile. Just try it. And if we naturally react to it and express the same vibration back to us, unless some outside thought or emotion is allowed to step in to suppress it, as Milton tells us, quote, "For smiles from reason flow, to the brute denied, and our love the food," end quote. Spiritual effect. But the most important effect upon us of smiling is the psychological and spiritual one. Since a real smile must come from the heart, it sets a current of kindness and love flowing toward the one of whom we smile. This creates a definite current of spiritual magnetism, which actually envelopes its object and penetrates his aura to his heart and stimulates a like reaction. And when we have charged ourselves with our current of positive friendliness, we are impervious to any negative reaction, such as a frown or an ungracious or sullen look or unfriendly reply. Refuse to react. And usually, if we consciously refuse to react to such negative responses, but intentionally keep on smiling in the face of seeming rebuff, our current of friendliness and love will melt the opposition and secure a smile in return. Just try it. It is said that a continued smile and a hearty laugh, if not dissipated by fear, will even disarm and make harmless many wild animals. I'm going to say that that might be very difficult to do in this time frame. Smiling within. This determination to maintain smiling feeling within and to charge our whole personality with friendliness acts so positively that we actually radiate our love charged magnetism and thus develop both the love radiating qualities in ourselves and increase our reliance upon them. And the more we habitually rely upon the love of the divine self within, and the more determinately express that self, the more nearly divine we become here on earth. Just try it. Effects on others. The next important effect of deliberately smiling is its results within the one smile upon. The natural tendency is for one vibration to call forth and match another. A frown for a frown, a smile for a smile. Therefore, our smile tends to arouse a friendly response. And more important still, to bring it into expression, just as our hearts instinctively respond to a baby cooing smile. And we say, "What a dear. Isn't it a darling? Don't you love it?" So does our fellow man tend to respond to our smile, helping to others. Thus, our smile will help him neutralize and throw off any vibration of gloom, irritation, or unhappiness, which may surround him, to which he may be reacting. Our smile, therefore, assists him to manifest the divine in him, the love aspect of his nature. Thus do we unconsciously contribute to his spiritual growth. Just try it. How to start the day. But the mere knowledge of this law of radiation and its reactions is of little value to us unless we put it into practice operation. Therefore, we should form the habit of always starting the day with a smile. If we do not feel much like smiling, we can induce that state. For it is a psychological law that going through the emotions tends to induce the same state which originally produced the motions. Understanding this law may psychologists require their melancholic or nervous patients to stand before a mirror regularly the first thing every morning and wrinkle their faces into the form of a smile and study it to see that result is a really friendly smile and not just a grimace. And soon they will be really smiling. Just try it. A practical exercise. Many students have asked for something to do, some practical exercise for the mastery of self and the cultivation of spirituality. And here it is. Many accept some difficult form of concentration or yoga, but here is a simple little thing, which, because of its simplicity, is apt to be neglected, yet which is of the greatest practical importance. For a few of us are naturally gifted with such a sunny disposition that we naturally smile our way through life. Hence, smiling needs to be cultivated like musical or artistic ability or any other talent that is important to our culture, welfare, happiness, and success. The prison house. Many persons are so shut up in the prison house of self that they are actually ill because they cannot escape from their negative reactions. The muscle of their faces have become inflexible and set in ridges of tension. Their brows are wrinkled and furrowed with care or negative and depressing emotions whose lines become deeper and deeper as though cut in stone. Muscular habits. Once fixed in the habit, the muscles actually fight against any change of expression. It therefore requires willpower, determination, and persistent practice to establish a new habit of smiling. When the corners of our mouths turn down, are relaxed and flabby, our spirits turn down with them. So we must deliberately practice turning them up so that we can smile at will, and even before we need to do it. Just try it. Why we don't feel like it. The more we don't feel like it, the more we need it, and the more willpower and determination it requires. That is just the trouble. We do not feel like it. Why? Because we are not responding to the harmony and joy of the divine self within. We must therefore concentrate on that inner harmony, joy, and love until we express and radiate it. Let us make a definite exercise of it while arranging our hair or while shaving. Just try it. Okay, this is an interesting one. Our spiritual toilet. Spiritual toilet. We give time and attention to completing our physical toilet before we appear in public. And our spiritual toilet is just as important and is not complete without a smile. If we start the day with a positive smile and a laugh, that the rest of the day will take care of itself. Just try it. Oh, geez. So as soon as we awaken and say a prayer, such as the morning prayer or the prayer for light, and give thanks for our preservation through the night, we should deliberately smile with joy that we have been given another day in which to improve and increase and manifest more of our real self than we did the day before. We should realize that each day is a new incarnation, a new chance to take up our life expression again, a new opportunity to improve and perfect and radiate that expression. Smile at breakfast. We should begin our self-discipline by making it a positive rule never to go down to the breakfast table until we can do so with a smile, which shall be so positive and dynamic that it will radiate our friendliness and love to one and all. Greet each one heartily and sincerely. When you say, "How are you this morning?" express real interest and concern that each may be well and happy. And if we smile positively and dynamically at each one, we can start each one out for the day smiling also. Just try it. Prepare positively for the day. Starting out with the positive radiation, we are properly primed to meet every condition, circumstance, or test resolutely and harmoniously, and can make the most of each incident. For smiling keeps us poised within and therefore self-controlled. Just try it. Thus, we are able to carry on through any condition because we are so positively sustained by the radiations of our inner harmony that we can smile even in the face of adversity. Just try it, especially during the hot months when so many are tired and nervous and easily irritated. How refreshing and harmonizing is a cheerful smile when needed most. And in cold weather, how warming is a cheery smile. Just try it. Never miss a chance to use it. As the poet says, "'Tis easy enough to be pleasant when life goes along like a song. But the man worthwhile is the one who will smile when everything goes dead wrong." For the test of the heart is trouble, and it always comes with the years. But the smile that is worth the praises of earth is a smile that comes through tears. Prevents misunderstanding. A real smile is not the silly giggle of an immature or vacant mind, but a real heart radiation of dynamic power. Do not fail to use it in the critical moment. Just try it. When non-polluce or taken unawares, smile before you speak. It will affect your own mental state as well as the other person's, and will modify the reactions of both. It often thus I'm sorry, guys, these old words. Misunderstandings and avoid serious trouble. Just try it. No introduction to strangers is necessary if a cordial smile comes from the heart. It passes current among all persons in all lands and in all ages. Just try it. Sorry, guys, I had to adjust my teeth. A smile of God. Once realize that all manifestation in nature is but a part of the smile of God in creative expression, and we will do our best to help complete and perfect that expression by consciously radiating our own inner harmony and beauty as freely and as naturally as the smiling face of nature does, through the flowers, the trees, and the songbirds. The welcomed smile. If we will all practice smiling at everyone to whom we speak and look upon with a smile at everyone who speaks to us, and giving a pleasant glance to everyone who glances at us, we will soon become known as those happy, smiling people. And the cheer and happiness thus radiate will make us welcome at any gathering in all walks of life, as well as make ourselves happy, healthy, and successful. So smile, smile, smile. Try it. I know that seems very, like, it's not easy because I'm just gonna lay this out. Okay. I used to get off an express bus in Manhattan at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on the bus at 5, got off the bus on 14th and 6th Avenue in Manhattan. And there's a lot of homeless, crazy people. So if you smile with them with the warm intent, like good morning, they think other things of you. So you got to be very careful. And yes, we should be smiling at people. There are some people that need that smile, that look miserable and want to kill themselves. It's good to do that. But just read the room, read your situation. Because I used to smile at some random people and they wanted to chop my head off. So just know your situation and atmosphere before you go in and do stuff like that, because sometimes that can get you in trouble because people, and yes, you are radiating the love, but some people are not here and have little voices in their head from the evil things. Just saying. Just say it. That was a really good section. Those two were really good. I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope you resonated with it. The mother stuff, definitely. Absolutely. And we're moving into this direction. If we can modernize it, I feel that women and men need to come into balance with themselves. Like as a person, I feel I express myself more in a masculine manner than I do in a feminine. Because when I express myself in a feminine manner, I get objectified. When I do my makeup the way I really like to do my makeup, and yes, I do my makeup, this is my normal thing, but when I get dressed up, I get objectified. I get looked at as an object and not as a woman. And that's not because I'm wearing, anything that would promote such thoughts. Normal dresses, normal heels will still promote the same response. So I tend to dress more like on the tomboy scale. I know how to act. I know how to self-sustain. And I don't have a man. I don't have anybody taking care of me. It's just me. So again, this was written in a different time, in a different era. I think it's coming into balance within yourself. We need the men to be men. Like, I hope that if I have a relationship with somebody, even if I don't get married and it's just long-term situation togetherness, that they come in as being a man. And not saying that all men have to be manly men and chop wood and know how to screw in a light bulb, but have the ability to be a man. Because maybe I could take a step back from my masculine qualities and actually have someone do some of the manly work that I have no choice but to do. And that's just to save money, because again, I have no income. I'm unemployed. I'm trying to get back into my portrait work so that I can make some side cash. But otherwise, after this retrograde, I'm trying to make an Etsy store and trying to sell some of my artwork, because I don't know what to do. Universe is forcing me to make a change somewhere. I'm allowing the things to flow into my life where it presents itself. But it's not easy. I don't have job experience. I have a lot of job experience, but not with what everybody else does, because I like to tick to my own talk. So I got to wiggle my way and figure that out. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I love this book. It is so good. Smile when it's reasonable. Smile in the mirror. And again, even if it's at yourself, I'm very self-conscious about my mouth. My teeth fall down. I look like a stereotyped person of where I was born. It ain't pretty. And the world doesn't make it any cheaper to get that fixed either. It's not like I can put a veneer in because there's no anchoring teeth to do that. I need dentures or I need implants, and I can't afford either. Amongst everything else that I have to do as an adult. So, and I know many of you, I'm saying this because I know many of you are feeling that too. Like, what do you smile? What are you talking about? I can't smile, I have teeth. But that's okay. That's still a smile and it's not a grin. Like, it's on the face. But I know many of you feel the same struggle that I do. That's why I mention personal things, because I know many of you are in the same situation that I'm in. Different junctures of life, but it doesn't matter. We're all having a struggle somewhere in our lives that it's hard to look in the mirror and be serious, right? But I'm going to close out on this. Laughter is ridiculous. If I'm really starting to get moody and I feel upset, and I'm, besides looking at cute animal photos, because that's always perking me up, little cute things that make me happy, I watch that stuff. Find a comedian that you can connect with, no matter what the genre they tackle is, even if it's, you know, if that what's making you laugh from the heart, from your belly, you have the belly laugh, watch it, because it's worth it. It's worth uplifting your vibrations. And if you feel like you hadn't, like you didn't have the greatest of days, always throw something on that's going to make you die laughing. Like you're really in it to win it with that laugh. So try doing that if you're in that, because I feel a lot of people right now with the energy, it's very, very dense and it's very heavy, and a lot of us are being affected in different ways. I always try to find something that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, or I put something on that makes me really laugh and crack my ass up. The world is really going crazy right now, so we need some laughter. We need to smile. So find the things that are going to do that for you. Sending each and every one of you protection, shielding, light, and love. Please come to neutrality. Swing that pendulum towards your positive. Get that knockback so it's not going too crazy back in the negative. Things are not easy right now. Stinky. And it's going to be like this for a while. So let's find the ways to better ourselves. Hope all of you have an amazing start to your weekend. Please, the weather is crazy. Please have extra eyes out on the weather conditions for wherever you are. I know by me, this is like the first summer I'm here. So it was a really nice summer. So 1, 2, 3 hot days like this, it's bad outside. Really bad. And I can't imagine people living in the South. So let's be cognizant. Let's be aware of their conditions. And if those conditions go bad, where do you go? So please leave any comments if this resonates with you. What makes you smile? What makes you laugh? Is there a comedian you could recommend to people? Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. People need to learn that there might be some other awesome comedian in another country that even if you put it on the subtitles, you're going to laugh no matter what. So please don't be shy. Leave. If you watch really funny content, someone might need that to smile. So please make sure you hit that like button or the thumbs up button, whatever channel you're watching me on. Please share and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all the new people that are watching my content. It makes me happy that more people are seeing the work and might be getting something from it. So until next time, guys, bye.